Here we are with game number 4 on Woodlands version 5. So let's turn off the fog of war to actually show you how it looks. If you look at the minimap, it has 4 big forest lines between the players in here, and yeah, you see those lanes between those forests, which are super important because you can use them to either launch an attack against your opponent, or you need to properly defend them because you definitely don't want to allow your opponent to do exactly this. So yeah, this is a lot of strategical deciding to make in there, and well, let's have a look at the players overall, the civilizations that they have chosen. So let's turn off the chat as well off. Looking at civilizations, we have Andorin as Mayan, Pedro is Spanish, Sniper is Mongol, whereas Yannick is Han, Skull is Mongol, and Follow Your Mind is Mayans, which means that we have a switch between Hans and Spanish, and let's see what's going to be better on this part of the map. Well, not really sure, but I kinda think that we'll discover soon enough. Purple, green, and teal are at the bottom, so on the left side, on the left bottom side we have NCs, whereas at the top right side we have CZs. You can see already that Skull is going for a board, and it's actually his, or no, that is a stolen one. That is a stolen one yet again from his opponent, so they are definitely doing their homework right now, CZ clan, in these maps, and they have stolen on Arabia, and they are stealing right now on the woodland as well. So pretty good job by the yellow player, and he needs to be right now careful with those double boards at the top. If he actually wants to keep the advantage of the extra board that he has stolen from the purple player. So Pedro will be having a pretty tough start. Looking how he's Spanish. Not exactly sure if he's going to mind all that much, but of course it's a pretty big help and hamper to your opponent. And well, let's have a look around for the other players who are having those boards still in position, but this could be potentially up for the taking because it's very far away from Yannick's base, and well, if it is scouted by somebody, it could be stolen, but doesn't seem like it will be the case because there are no enemy scouts coming nearby. Both boards coming in from Sniper, so it seems like that he's having both of them quite safely inside his own base, so not any kind of problem for him. Like he was stolen on the Arabia, whereas Blue is having one board in the forefront, which he should be definitely careful about, but otherwise the second is at the back, so not any kind of problem for him either. But a lot of mines in here, stone and gold, so that's a nice position of the map, and he could be having a quite easier time of actually walling if he puts a wall about here and here. Yeah, it could be pretty easy for him and not any kind of problem, but you can see already that Sniper is on the job with the wall in and will be the first to actually put a wall in, but does he have loom? Yeah, he does, so he's not going to be much of a problem due to the Wolfie, but there could be an unfortunate situation if Blue actually happens to come here. And notice, you could see that actually Teal was trying to steal the board, but unfortunately for him, Blue was paying enough attention and he was well aware that some kind of shenanigan like that could be happening. So pretty nice job by CZ, follow your mind, as he is being careful with the board right now, at least trying to make sure that it isn't stolen, sending another belief for it, even before the first wild board is being finished. So yep, nicely played, he will be discovering the wall in on the left, whereas in here, we already see that Yellow is trying to see what his opponent is going to do about the stolen board. Well, he is of course forced to build a mill right next to his berries, with Skull going into the first feudal age because he was having the advantage of the extra board. And is he going to be drushing his opponent? He definitely could, because he will be having the advantage in the food economy in the very early stage. He is Mongol though, so not exactly sure if it's the strategy to go to. But he is moving actually with the Willy, and it seems like he's actually aiming for the hunt, looking how he's having the bow. But is it going to be clever? I kinda don't think so, because it's very close to his opponent's base. He doesn't of course know about the barracks and Spanish potentially going for a drush, but it could be pretty problematic for him, with at least barracks being dropped by him, and potentially even something extra beyond that. So this might be a drush by both sides, basically clashing in there, whereas there's already a wall coming in from NC Andorin in the middle, doing a pretty good job of that, potentially even using the stone and trying to disrupt Yannick's scouting. And well, that's more like disrupting Andorin at this stage, but it doesn't really matter all that much because the wall will be finished just in time. Teal on the right side trying to finish with the wall in earnest, trying to make sure that there is actually no way through, but unfortunately for him there is on the right, and he might not be even aware of that. Oh well, yeah, he isn't. He's thinking that this forest is going right next to the wall, which it isn't, and yeah, you can see by the villager coming through here that he's going to be quite nastily surprised if actually blue takes advantage of this, but looking how he's Mayan, probably not, unless he's going for some archer raiding in the next age, but we'll see, because nobody's advancing into feudal, just Skull, as the first one, quite fast at 17 villagers, whereas everybody else seems to be going for some kind of strategy that will result in faster castle ages. So Volin trying to be finished by purple player, he's already having all 3 militias out with the scout. And very nicely doing with the Volin. Yeah, he's not falling for the same trap as teal player on the right, but it seems like that the teal player is already rather figuring out that he needs to have a look in here. And yeah, he will be lucky with finishing with the wall. So no, not any kind of raiding, but follow your mind that could be successful in here. Now seeing that he needs to finish the wall in here, so this guy will be finishing with the walls, and it seems like that Andorin and his teammates are going to be in pretty good position and defend it quite nicely without any kind of chance of the opponents coming through. So, any kind of raiding strategy by CZ is going to be backfiring on them, because they will be just basically wasting resources without any kind of chance of coming through, which is also the reason why NCs are not advancing into feudal ages fast, but they are going for a lot of economy, a lot of villages. You can see all 3 of them at 27 right now, and they are clicking into feudal ages, so they will be jumping into castles just as soon as they can in there. So pretty nice job with right now a bit of a rushing onto CZ Skull. He's going to be having a bit of a problems with the food economy in the next minutes, but probably not all that much. But without any kind of scout nearby, he's having the scout in the middle, trying to basically right now help Yannick with something, not exactly sure what. He is also having quite a lot of scouts all around the map. Yeah, not having any kind of luck with finding his way through, obviously, and he's literally all over the place, which means that he won't be also anywhere, all over the place, and at the same time nowhere, which means that he's having a bit of a problem inside his own base, and he needs to hope that he will be having enough scouts in here as well to basically defend against this. But looking at the tree line here, he should be having a pretty much easier time of getting rid of those militias, but it also means that they are not gathering anything, and that's exactly what Rush is about. Disrupting your enemy economy. You don't even need to kill the villages. All that is needed is make them not gather any kind of resources, and that is going to give you advantage in your own economy. So Feudal Age is being finished by all 3 NCs, whereas CZs are already all in. Is pretty much the only action that is going to be happening in the next minutes. Obviously, there's not going to be happening anything else, so Scout already dead, and well, these guys are going to be dead in just a matter of moments as well, as there's not anything that they can do against all those villies. On the right side though, we see already a double wall coming up from Sniper, which is almost telling you that he might be interested in slinging, but since he is Mongol, that's definitely not going to be true, as you want to make use of Mongolian strength in the Imperial Age quite well, so this is just making sure that he isn't breached before he is ready for it. So nicely played. I'm kinda expecting that actually Andorin might be slinging him as a Mayan. That wouldn't be the worst course of action, and well, let's see if this is going to be happening. Finally, Skull has returned with some scouts to get rid of all those militias, so good job on that. And he hasn't lost a single villager, so pretty good job. And right now, let's see how the boom wars will end. Red already seen that Andorin is having double palisade wall and finishing with a stone wall as well. And he already has a market. Okay, so he will be slinging quite assuredly. It's just a question of time before he is ready for it, but he is also going into Castle Age, so let's not be all that hasty calling it a game for him on the offensive in here, as he might still be interested in going for pretty much standard play. Let's see into the achievements if maybe somebody is slinging in here. So far not, so it seems like that everybody is on his own so far. With the one trapped Scout Cavalier trying to make his life count, as he is trying to basically discover what his opponents are doing. With market also being built by Pedro, so they will maybe be going for some cartography to make sure that they see what their allies are seeing, but so far not happening, and castle ages are trickling in for all 3 NCs, and well, you can finally see that Skull is going for a bit of walling himself. He knows about the path through the left, so he is going to be careful about it, and he is trying to finish in here, which is going to be just as well. And I'm thinking that this battlefield it will be very important because of those 2 goals in here, if the game drags on too long, which I kinda think that it could, especially looking And all three players from both teams go in for pretty much faster castle ages and nobody's slinging so far. It usually tells you that the battle is going to be a bit prolonged. Walls also being built by Follow Your Mind on the right side, trying to make sure that he is containing his opponent quite nicely, who is building yet another row of walls, because you can see that the castle is being dropped, and unfortunately for Follow Your Mind, it's very nicely scouted by Sniper by the cleverly positioned outpost. So yeah, this is nicely played by him, and he's of course going to be held by Yannick as well. So it seems like a pretty strong double starting to be brewing on the right side from Follow Your Mind and Yannick. And Plumed Archers together with Knights is going to be a pretty strong combo indeed. Boso coming in from both Sniper and Andorin, with Tanwatch for Skull and also Pedro going into Castle Age. And they are trying to breach the walls in here, but they are of course not going to be fast enough, as they need to first build some siege weapons, and yeah, this is going to be following in just a matter of moments, I think, but still in the meantime they are going to be using at least what they have. But once they see that the second row of walls is going to be built, yeah, they're probably going to be thinking that they need to do something extra to push through. On the left side, double palisade wall, that's not really all that strong by Pedro, but since he is also building a castle in here as a Spanish, he's going to be hoping that he can actually delete the palisade walls and go for a bit of raiding himself, and he might be successful at that, because in the middle CZs are not walling at all, and I'm kinda afraid for them that it might be coming back to bite them, because once their opponents actually breach the walls, they can literally choose to do that anytime in the game, they will be in a pretty big threat of being raided very heavily, especially by the Conquistadors and maybe even some other units, and literally everything, some Knights, Paladins, whatever, right inside Yannick's base, or maybe even Blues. Only one who is defending against this possibility is Skull so far, and yeah, he's doing a pretty good job of that and working on it quite nicely. It's like that he has just started the walls very nicely to defend against this pikeman or other spearman, so that was pretty nicely played by Skull, and he is defended very nicely indeed, having double line of walls absolutely everywhere, and he should be quite safe from any kind of threat from his opponents, and since he's Mongol, that's exactly what he wants to be. Yeah, in here you can see that he has already pushed through the walls, and I kinda think that it was through petards I would be expecting, or maybe he just pushed through by the knights, could be, but at the same time it still means the same thing, and that's that NC Sniper is under heavy attack and he wasn't able to finish yet another line of walls, and will be raided exactly in the manner that I was talking about that Yannick could be, together with Follow Your Mind, but well, so far not, and you can see that already Follow Your Mind is sending a flank into Andorin's base, and this is a correct decision, because if he can stop the economy of the pocket, he will be halfway there to the victory. So pretty nicely played, and pretty big problem for NCs right now, because they are under pretty heavy attack and they need to deal with this as soon as possible. Let's check if somebody's already slinging from some of the teams. Here you can see that Skull is actually slinging into Follow Your Mind. So we have Mongols slinging into Mayan. Oh well, that's uncommon, I would be saying. Usually you see it the other way around. Actually, the Mongol being slung, as he is having pretty strong Imperial Age. But this is kind of telling me that they are really reacting on the map and reacting on the fact that on the left it's kind of stalemate-ish, not going anywhere. Whereas on the right they are already through and hoping that they can actually propel Follow Your Mind into the Imperial Age. He's already advancing, and give him extra resources for potentially lethal spam of Plumed Archers and maybe even Eagle Warriors. And yeah, this town center is not going to be coming up anytime soon, especially with the hill advantage right next to it, up for the taking for those archers. So nicely played so far. Goodbye, Willis. Not exactly sure what they were thinking that they are going to achieve here, and a big problem for NCs is continuing, and really, right now we can see that Sniper is having 39 villages, and 18 of them, the 20 of them are doing nothing at all, so that's pretty much stopped economy for him. And looking at the other villages, we have 65-44, which is the same for CZ, so yeah, you can see like 15 wills more for CZ, so they are having upper hand in that as well. Already castle here, so that's going to be aggressive castle drop. Yeah. Had a very nice position, which is basically going to deny any kind of food gathering next to the TC, and well, this is getting out of hand for NCs very fast, and not even this Mangonel is going to be enough. It's probably going to land some pretty good shots before it is destroyed. But looking at the spread formation, it's not going to be anything all that substantial. And with the knights in position in here, Sniper is in a tough spot and will be needing help from his allies very soon. So far though, Andorin is not preparing with any kind of buildings. He's having just Siege Workshop in here, not anything else. So he's not going to be the one helping. And yeah, you can also see that the radiant from Yannick is going to be extending onto the left side as well. In here, Pedro is trying to push through as he's having a lot of petards, hoping that he can actually push through the walls, which he kinda can, but I'm not sure if he's aware of the third line of walls, which is definitely going to be stopping his attempts right there. Yeah, he doesn't know about it at all, so that's going to be a surprise and a very unlucky one for him, because obviously he's hoping that he can get through with just those force, which is going to give up his surprise and give time to his opponent to prepare. Yep, one more extra war, and unfortunately it wasn't enough for you. So nicely played by Skull, and really nice positioning of the wall in right after, or rather behind, the line of sight of his opponent. So nicely done, and still it is also nicely done by Pedro because he can right now at least raid the gold of his opponent. So yep, this is a bit of a problem for yellow, but not all that much because he does have extra gold if he needs to right behind his base build another wall as he's expecting extra petards coming in from his opponent. Yeah, they're already on their way and he needs to be quite fast, which he really is. And well, this is some hell of a micro. Have you seen this? All 6 villagers being actually controlled one by one. Oh well, can you see this? This is out of this world. This is so well played. So well played, really. Nicely done, nicely done. I can't just stop looking at this, but let's see somewhere else on the map, especially on the right side, where blue is finishing with the castle, of course, and making life very difficult for his steel opponent. So yep, Sniper is in a pretty tough situation and trying to survive as long as he can, even retreating with his villagers to the left and hoping that he can somehow survive near Andorin's base. Fortunately for him though, he's building a town center right next to the castle being dropped by a follow your mind. So CZs are definitely going for it very offensively, having quite a lot of pluntages, and this is going to be a slaughter. Yeah, he's probably not going to be even finishing with the TC. Well, it seems like that he will, but it's going to cost him quite a lot of fillies, of course. And he's not going to be getting any kind of resources from this tree line, because obviously, since this is with the castle already finished, this is going to be just a question of time before he finishes with absolutely everything. So yeah, Billy's getting killed by sniper all the time, and even though he's still at pretty good numbers at 47, it's not enough. It's not going to be enough because he is not doing anything right now that could be considered worthwhile for the team effort. So yeah, that's unfortunate for him, still working on the TC on the right, but it's going to be a question of time before he is finished in here. In the middle, there's a bit of a battle of the Conquistadors. And Yannick quite nicely advancing through the middle in here, trying to conquer the gold. And also, yeah, having a lot of knights here, and we already see GG's being called, as on the left, yeah, it is decided that Pedro is not going anywhere through Skull, and on the right side this is just too strong stranglehold on both Sniper and also Andorin, and very well played by CZs, and they definitely prepared for this map and chose the correct strategy. So GG and CZs are winning the semifinals 3-1 in pretty nice fashion. But well, the first map was nicely played by NC, we have to say, and give them that. But these rest of the games quite nicely played and quite nicely controlled by CZ. And this push through was just so strong overall that unfortunately for NCs couldn't do anything about that at all. Interesting indeed, because it seemed like that really NCs did have some interesting strategy. They were advancing to castle ages, all 3 of them, quite fast, and they were probably hoping that 3 lines of walls are going to be enough to allow them a bit of a boom in, but, well, that wasn't the case, and, well, CZ basically steamrolled over them just like that, so good job, and let's have a look at the achievements in here. With Follow Your Mind being the MVP. He was playing quite nicely on the right side, and he was then also slain by Skull, which was the correct decision, and I kind of think it wasn't the plan from the start, but once they saw that they can actually easily breach into NC's base and were dominating in there without any kind of opposition, they just went for it, and it was the correct decision because it's basically like putting your feet on the throttle, and really worked very nicely. 25 advance into Imperial Age. That's pretty fast even with Sling. Usually you have advances like 27 minutes. Yanning having pretty beastly echo at the very end. So, nicely played and GG.